Good morning, afternoon, and good night. This is API's tutorial for estimated tax payments. We're going to do federal, personal, state, personal. I'm also going to show you the S-Corp for those who have an S-Corp. You never owe federal tax for an S-Corp, so it's just the state for the S-Corp. We're going to start with the IRS, move our way onto the state. So here we go. Let me share my screen here and hop right into it and try to go nice and slow for you guys so we can see where to go. I'm going to start with the IRS. So it's irs.gov. Get this main page here. Right smack dab in the middle, make a payment. You're going to get all these options. So really, we got two options here: pay with bank account, pay with credit card. Definitely going to recommend the bank account. Credit card, I believe it's a 1.75% of the tax as a fee. If you're paying a $10,000 tax payment, it's a $175 fee. So definitely going to want to pay with the bank account. I mean, that's a last resort if you want to pay with the credit card. So I'm going to say direct pay with bank account. And it's going to ask for personal tax, business tax. As I said earlier, never going to be paying business tax. So it's always personal with the IRS. We're going to say make a payment. A little side note here, you could potentially look up a payment if you were unsure whether or not you made an estimate for a prior year. I know it's tough to remember when we pay for things 12 months ago. So kind of a cool tool there. Highly recommended to take advantage of that if you can't remember. But right now we're going to make a payment and we're going to select a reason. You got lots of reasons here. Estimated tax is what we're doing today, but just for other purposes, you've got the extension payment option here, as well as the balance due option. This is when you file your tax return and you owe something by April 15th. That's what you want to click right there. But for today, we're going to do estimated tax. This pre-populates. So 2025 is this video. I'm in 2025 right now. And so 1040 ES, that's the magic form. And we're going to say continue. Yeah, confirm. Then it's going to ask you to identify yourself, basically a little verification thing that the IRS does. They don't do this on the state, so the IRS is a little more difficult. You're just going to pick your previous return that was filed. So right now for me, it's 2023. The other thing I'm going to mention here is that, ultimately, if you haven't filed in a long time, this may not be available to you. So if you fill this out and it says it does not recognize you, we're going to have to go a different route. But basically, that's one. Number two, I want to mention that you can only set up two payments at a time with the IRS. Why? I don't know. But basically, if you're trying to set up all estimates for the year, you can only set up two of the 4 quarters. And you can only do this generally within a week's time. So you would set up April, you'd set up June, you'd circle your calendar for a week later, come back, do this all again for September and Q4. Okay. So I'm going to take this off the screen because I don't want you guys to see my information. I know you're really upset about that, but so basically just address. So now this needs to match last year's tax return, right? So if you moved in the middle of the year, be aware this is not going to match the current address. We want to do the previous address. I was born yesterday. Yep, that's good. That's good stuff. Well, I accept at the bottom there. Beautiful. So once you get accepted, we look something like this. And so you're just going to put in your payment amount, payment date, bank account, and then an email address here to send the verification. That's a crucial piece because you want the notification. I'm going to want to see that receipt confirmation when I'm preparing the return for you. And I'm going to do a real fledged payment here. I'm going to just do $1, but just so that you can see the whole shebang. So we're going to do April 15th. That's when our first quarter is due. Take this information away so we don't have to see that. Routing. And the cool thing is when you punch in the routing number, you will see your bank pop up just to nicely let you know you punched in the right thing. Checking your savings. I would like to receive an email verification. Okay, so once you've got that stuff in, it looks like so. They're going to say disclosure off. I'm going to say yes. And then you just kind of review. Make sure your stuff's good here. You want to make sure it's applying to the appropriate tax year. Your dollar amount is good. Your date is good. Your bank account is good. And then basically just a e-sig to kind of send her off. I'll ask for the social one more time. Say I accept debit authorization. I usually like to do a quick little re-glance here. Edit button for you at the top if you made a boo-boo, which sometimes we do. So, okay, there we go. We're going to hit submit. Shebang. We're done. And I love to print this. So you can do a screenshot if that's your forte. But I like a good old-fashioned print and save as PDF. And you're done. So that is how you make an estimated tax payment for the IRS. Now, if you wanted to make that second payment, you go right in here and say make another payment. You don't have to verify yourself again. I think that's kind of the nice thing about setting up 1 and 2 at the same time. It just cuts you right through that step, and now all of a sudden, boom, we're ready to make the second payment. You could use a different bank account if you wanted to, but that is basically how to pay an estimated tax payment for the IRS. Let's say cancel here, and we're done. Very quickly before I go off to the state, highly recommend setting up an account with the IRS. You can create an account right here where it says sign into your account. If you don't have one, they'll ask you, hey, get started, set up a new one. Such a cool tool. You can ultimately view prior tax payments, but more importantly, we can pull transcripts for previous years. We can pull wage and income transcripts, which lets us see the income that's reported to the IRS. Very, very cool tool. But anyway, that is recommended, not mandatory. So I'm going to go now to the states. The state is Franchise Tax Board. So franchise ftb.ca.gov. It's already populated. Very similar looking page here. Basically going to make a payment. Same kind of thing here, bank account, credit card. We advise the bank account. California is very easy to set up a payment plan here, we like that. For those who need a payment plan, you could just do it yourself. There's also more payment options here. For the sake of this video, just going to stick with the bank account, make things easy. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we've got both personal and business. Business would be for your S-Corp and partnership tax returns, as well as standard corporations for those who have normal corporations. Not really sure why sole proprietors would be on here, but anyway, let's go use WebPay Personal. You're going to punch in your information here. Last name, and you're going to see the state is a whole heck of a lot easier. Once you punch in that information, this comes up. First and last, street address. Now, this address does not have to be like the IRS, where it needs to match a previous tax return. This is where you live right stinking now, or where you want the FTB to correspond with you. So recommend that you use an address that you can ultimately access easily. PO Box works. Okay, so now that we're through that, this pops up. So we've got estimated tax right at the top. A lot less options here. Bill payment would be if you get a letter from the IRS and responding to that IRS would say, here you go, or sorry, FTB, here you go, fill that request. Tax return payment is when we prepare the tax return, you owe something to the state. That's what you would use as well. And then the extension payment, if you can't file by April 15th, this is how you make the extension payment. Make sure you're in safe harbor. Today we're doing the estimated tax payment. So that's that. Gonna say continue. Now, tax year is extremely important because we're using an estimated tax payment here. If we do a non-correct year, it's going to be tough to reroute and reapply the payment. It can be done, but this is kind of the most important step, is picking the tax year here. What's really cool about California, which I wish the IRS would wake up and smell the coffee with the state here, is you can add multiple payments, right? So I'm going to do $1. I'm going to do a full-fledged real process here. So I don't want to pay more than $1. And I'm going to show you how you can actually push out multiple payments here by just going out to Q2 now. I'm going to do $2 so you can see the difference here. And so now we've got Q1 payment set up. We've got Q2 payment set up. And you can add all four right now, set it up. It's all going to come from the same bank account. It's going to draft on these days, set it and forget it, and you're done. So that's really cool. If you are married, this is going to be your joint tax payment. And basically, you're just going to ask for spouse's first name, last name, I think social. And that's basically it. Lucky for me, that's not my, sorry. So we're moving on here. Routing account, punch this in. And then, of course, you're going to reiterate, make sure you are using a personal bank account. Sidestep that marriage joke. Sorry about that. Okay. Now we are in, this is basically just the review section again. Make sure we've got the right year. Make sure the payment amounts are right for the appropriate payment dates. Address is good. And so effectively, you're just going to punch in your email again. We're going to want to do an email that, you know, it's not going to be spam or anything like that. You have access to it. I always just type in API's phone number here. They're never going to contact you by phone. So we're good. I've got it all. Say submit. Boom. And so the difference here is what I don't like about the state is there's no print option. And so you should do one of two things: take a print screen option, or have some sort of a tool that kind of grabs this for you. I have a tool that you kind of just grab, but you could do Control Alt Print, and that'll do a screenshot and save, because we want this. We want to give this to API when we're preparing our tax return so that we can easily see, hey, yeah, you paid this much on this date. So that this is important. You can make another payment down here if you want to hop right back in. Maybe you're setting up estimates right now, but maybe we have a balance due and we want to pay that balance. So that's where I would go there. I'm done on that. Now, last and foremost, we're going to do, for those who have an S-Corp, you can exit right now if you don't. We're going to do the business pay now. So this is the use web pay business. And so here, if you have an S corporation, big question here, Kelby, I don't see S Corp. You are a corporation. Okay. So now you need your entity ID. If you don't have your entity ID and you don't want to bother with having to pull open your tax return or your articles of incorporation, here's a quick tip. just open a separate tab, go to Secretary of State. I usually just type in SEC and it pops up. And this is the SOS website. I don't like this one. There's a more of a business search one. There she is right here. Business search. It's going to take you right to, hopefully, right here. And this is where you just type in your corporation's name, right? So we're API accounting. We're API accounting, tax, and advisory, but all I need to do is put in the first couple of words and we pop right up. And that right there, it's probably small. I'll zoom in for you guys. Right there, this 4810786. That's ours. 041. Sorry, totally wrong. 4810786. And now when we hit this button, we want to see us at the top here. Just to make sure we're not paying someone else's tax. And that's, now we're in the right spot. Fill this out. Top option always, we are, if you're curious, we are the 100S for S-Corp. Click continue. Estimated tax, similar options here. Quick sidebar. For those of us who are using the pass-through entity election, this is where you click for that. It's all the way at the bottom. And this effectively matches the same form that we use to pay the PTE, what we refer to as the PTE payment, for those who are taking advantage of that. For those who are not, it's only this estimated tax payment. If you're looking to pay just that $800, this is where we go, top option. Extension payment for those who want to can't file by March 15th. Remember, March 15th deadline for S-Corps. This is where you would make that. Today we're doing the estimated tax. So this is a little bit different. They're going to want to know the fiscal year. I'm going to tell you right now, every single API client, you are calendar year. So you are effectively January 1st, 2025, December 31st, 2025. Now be careful because they throw a bunch of years at you here. Okay, so you always want to make sure for estimated tax, it's for the calendar year that we're currently in. We're in 2025, so I'm paying estimated tax for 2025. And again, you can set up multiple payments. For most of us, it's $800, April 15th. Sorry, yes, that's correct, April 15th. And so there that is. Now, if we have multiple quarters, the state will always do Q1, Q2, and Q4. They skip Q3. I don't know why, but that's where you add in Q2. Let's say it's $1,000. We go to June 15th or the next day. See, June 15th, it's a Sunday, so it's the next day. That's the deadline. We say continue. If you've got a Q4, I'll just do it since we're having fun here. Say it's another $800. That's going to be all the way in September. So September 15th is a Monday. That should be a fun deadline for everyone. And there we go. There's my schedule. I've got the correct fiscal year. And so we just say continue. And then they're going to ask for the routing. It's exactly the same as I showed you with the personal. I'm not going to follow through with this one because I just don't feel like paying $2,600 for the corp right now. But that is estimated tax payments for personal, business, IRS, and state. I think that pretty much covers all of it. So I'm going to end the video now. This was fun. And thank you for choosing API.